Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to be offering you a pre-arrival webinar. This session is designed to support incoming international students at the University of Suffolk to know all the things to ensure that you start your journey off in the right way. Great. So let's start with some introductions. My name is August. I'm a current student life advisor at the University of Suffolk. My role focuses on supporting international students through their higher education journey, and I am always on hand to ensure that any questions you have are answered.
And I'm Gemma Stock, the Study Abroad Advisor at the University, and I work alongside August as part of the International Advice team.
Great. On the screen, you'll be able to see our contact information. You have the International Advice email address where we are always able to respond to inquiries. We also have live chat on our website, and at any point you can also call the phone number on the screen and ask to speak to a member of the International Advice team. So it's great to meet you all. So we're going to go through a few separate areas today. We're going to start with some pre-flight guidance, so packing your bags, the health immigration surcharge, accommodation options. We're going to again move on to travelling to Ipswich and guidance we would provide you on navigating the airport, getting to Ipswich, and some kind of general arrival information. And then we're going to talk about support services that will be on offer for you when you arrive. We want to ensure that your journey is supported all the way through, and so we want to talk to you about each step.
Before you pack, there are some important things that you should consider. So we would ask that you keep your cash shield updated with your arrival dates, pre-departure and post-arrival documents, and this enables us to best prepare for your arrival, so we know when we can expect to meet you. There are strict laws governing what you can bring into the UK. Meat and fish products, all drugs except prescription drugs, and animals are prohibited, and we would encourage you to visit the HMRC website to make sure you know the laws before you travel. There will be weight and size restrictions to both your hand and your hold luggage, so ensure you don't go over these allowances, as these can be charged as extra, and it's important to check with your airline before you fly about these restrictions. We would encourage you to avoid bringing heavy items with you, such as bedding or pots and pans, as these can be obtained really easily when you get here in Ipswich. Or you could order everything you need for your kitchen, your bedroom and bathroom through the UniKitOut website. You will need to bring some money with you to get you through the first couple of weeks whilst you're here in the UK, so we would recommend travelling with no more than about £500 or £600 in cash, and bringing the rest on a prepaid card or as a traveller's cheque. We would advise you not to bring large sums of cash with you, sums of money, to avoid putting yourself at risk of theft. So if you travel with more than £10,000 or equivalent in other currencies, you will be required to declare this at customs. And to do that, you would need to follow the goods to declare or the red channel signs and tell a border force officer that you want to declare cash. So finally, we would suggest that you take out travel insurance to cover you during your travels, and a good policy should cover you for travel delays, cancellations, medical emergencies and loss of belongings.
Brilliant, so that brings us on to packing. We're now going to talk about a hand luggage checklist. So you may need to show some documents at immigration when you arrive into the UK, and it's best to carry these in your hand luggage when you travel. These will include your passport and visa, CAS letter and unconditional offer letter, your original examination certificates, and also evidence of your finances for your tuition fees and your living costs. You may also need to demonstrate that you have somewhere to stay when you arrive in the UK. It's therefore important to have copies of your accommodation contract or an address where you'll be staying, along with a contact number in case of emergencies. If you are required to provide evidence of a TB screening as part of your visa application, we would encourage you to also bring evidence of this. When travelling with prescription medication, please ensure these are kept in original correctly labelled packages, and you have a letter from a doctor explaining what these are for. We would also recommend that you bring some UK currency for your transport from the airport to Ipswich if you haven't already booked your travel. And also, something we do recommend is that you bring a pen and paper with you, as these may provide useful to make any notes and keep hard copies of information of friends and family. Brilliant, so we've spoken about the hand luggage and what we would encourage you to pack in your hand luggage, and now we're going to talk about hold luggage. We're going to split this into what to pack and what we would recommend that you don't pack. So first of all, you'll want to bring warm and waterproof clothing. The British weather is very unpredictable and can change quickly. We would advise you to also bring light to medium weight clothing that is loose fitting that will allow you to wear several layers at once. If you are arriving during our January intake, we would certainly encourage you to bring a coat, a hat, gloves, as on very cold days you may require those. The UK uses a 3-pin plug, and therefore you may wish to bring an adapter with you for any electrical items you require. You may wish to bring a small amount of toiletries for your first few days. However, remember you can purchase most items in the UK. And we would definitely encourage you to pack your laptop or any electrical devices within your hold luggage. We also definitely recommend that you bring family photos or some kind of personal items. These can be used to decorate your bedroom and are a great reminders of home and can help with settling in over the first few weeks. So we've spoken about what to pack. We can now talk about what not to pack. So UK supermarkets offer a really wide variety of food from all around the world, and there is a range of international supermarkets in Ipswich where you can purchase specific foods from your culture. Kitchenware and bedding, please don't bring pots and pans, these can be really easily obtained upon arrival. And it's also unlikely that you would need to bring any study books. These can easily be purchased whilst in Ipswich and in the UK, and also you'll have access to our library and our brilliant e-resources. And finally, it goes without saying, but please don't bring any banned or restricted items. These may lead to you incurring a fine or being turned away at the border.
So we're now moving on to talk a little bit about the health immigration surcharge. So this is an expense that's part of your visa application if you're coming to the UK for more than 6 months. It's a charge that will provide you access to the National Health Service, the NHS, whilst you're here in the UK. The charge, however, will not cover all your medical expenses, and you will still be required to pay for certain services such as prescriptions, dental treatment and eye tests. For further information about what the charges cover, you can visit the linked government website. So to find out how much you'll need to pay, you can use the Immigration Health Charge Calculator. And if you're staying in the UK for less than 6 months or coming from a country with a reciprocal agreement, you will need to pay for your medical care. In this case, you're strongly advised to take out health insurance. And you can find out if your country has a reciprocal agreement by visiting the NHS website. And for students from the EU, you will need to bring your European health insurance cards with you.
Great, so we've spoken about packing your bags, we've spoken about the health immigration surcharge. We're now going to move on to accommodation options available. So the accommodation that we recommend to our students is provided by private providers that we know and trust, rather than the university itself. We will only recommend accommodation that has been inspected to make sure it meets our standards of quality and safety. For example, this may include inspections of gas appliances and electrical wiring being checked regularly. The accommodation that we recommend is designed for single occupancy. There may be some limited options for students living with their partner, but unfortunately the accommodation is not suitable for children, so we would be unable to assist families. The photos on this page are from Athena Hall, which is our on-campus halls of residence. It offers shared flats with ensuite rooms and a shared living and kitchen area, or studio rooms with ensuites and kitchenette. The building holds 590 students in total and is on the south end of our campus. If you're interested in booking with Athena Hall, the standard tenancy lengths are listed on their website, but if you require an earlier move-in date, we would encourage you to contact Athena directly regarding this. 75 Grimwade Street also offers ensuite rooms with a shared kitchen and living spaces, but for a much smaller number of students, just 49 bedrooms. They are our neighbours and they're situated in the north end of our campus with great access to the atrium and library buildings. There are also a small number of shared student houses, which are former family homes and completely rented out to students. Typically, these are 4 or 5 bedroom houses with a shared bathroom, kitchen and living facilities. You'll find details of all the properties I've mentioned on our website at www.urs.ac.uk/accommodation, and each property has its own page with details of the tenancy lengths, cost of rental and also sample photos. To inquire about any of the properties you're interested in, see the property page on our website and select the book your room or inquire further option to a link to the property manager's website or Suffolk Student Pad where you'll find their contact details. Great, so a couple of the pictures on this slide are from 75 Grimwade Street, which is one of our accredited accommodation providers. On this slide, we're going to talk about things to consider. Whether you choose to book accommodation or we recommend, or you choose to look within the private rental market, we hope the following advice will help. Firstly, we'd like to advise that there is generally less accommodation than in recent years. This is partly due to COVID-19 and the cost of living crisis, which has led to many landlords selling their homes rather than continuing to rent them out. Therefore, it may take longer than expected to find something suitable for your needs. The best advice that we can give is to recommend accommodation before you arrive to the UK, so you don't have the stress of arriving and then trying to find something. It's important that you also arrange the time that you'll be arriving at your accommodation with your landlord. This is so they can meet you and that your room will be ready and prepared for you. Most accommodation providers will have check-in available during their standard office hours, so 9 to 5, and if you're arriving in January, this may vary over the Christmas period. If you intend to arrive outside office hours, you may have to make alternative arrangements with your landlord, or you may need to arrange a hotel for the first night and check in with your landlord on the next working day. Either way, we would really encourage you to plan ahead to reduce any arrival concerns. There are websites like Rightmove, Zoopla, On the Market, which allow you to search for spare rooms in homeowners' houses that might reduce the cost and offer greater flexibility in terms of tenancy lengths. However, we are not affiliated with any of those sites, so you would have to determine the suitability and risk yourself. You may want to Google words like spare room or find a flatmate to find some of the other websites available. Gumtree is another option for individuals who may be renting out part or whole of their property. Short-term accommodation may also be suitable. For example, Airbnb, it can be really convenient for a short period of time, but it may work out as more expensive than sorting out accommodation for the duration of your time in the UK. So it would be best avoided if possible. So we would like you to know what is normal when renting accommodation in England. Landlords are required to check that anyone they rent to has the right to rent accommodation in the UK, except for some halls of residence. This involves showing that you have permission to be in the UK, so your passport or BRP should be enough to satisfy this check. Both UK citizens and citizens from the wider world have to complete this check, so it is not specifically for international students. It is also standard practice to be asked to pay a deposit and an amount of rent in advance of moving in. A deposit, which can be no more than 5 weeks' rent, can be charged to hold in case of breakages or damages to the rental property. If there are none, then the deposit should be returned to you at the end of the tenancy. There may also be a holding deposit of no more than a week's rent if you wish to ask the landlord to reserve the property for you. Only do this if you're sure you want the property, as you may not get the holding deposit back if you decide not to take the property. The amount of advance rent to be paid can be chosen by the landlord. 1 to 2 months is common, but they can charge you more, so make sure that you check what you're expected to pay with each landlord that you speak to. Landlords will often ask for a UK-based guarantor. A guarantor is someone who is able to pay the rent on your behalf if you're unable to, and this gives reassurance to the landlord that they'll be able to receive their rent. A family member or friend will often fill this role, and the landlord will check that they're solvent, meaning they're able to pay should they be called upon to pay the rent. If you do not have a UK-based guarantor, there are rent guarantor services that will be your guarantor for a fee. We hope to soon be establishing a partnership with one such company called Housing Hand, but there are other companies that will offer a similar service.
So now moving on to talk a little bit about airport guidance. And we know that arriving in a new country can be stressful and the UK border can be busy, and therefore you should be prepared to wait in a queue. It's vital that when you arrive at the border, you do not use the e-gates, and that instead you speak to a border officer to request a passport stamp to demonstrate that you entered the UK during your entry clearance period. So to assist you in requesting a passport stamp from a border officer, we would recommend downloading the request a passport stamp onto your phone. And exchange students and students from the EEA coming to the UK for less than 6 months can use the e-gates on arrival. So when you arrive at the UK border, you will need to show a valid passport. You may also need to show evidence of funding, such as bank statements, your CAS letter, an unconditional letter from the university, and you need to be prepared to have a conversation in English, potentially an immigration interview with the UKVI staff, and answer questions about where you're staying, why you've come to the UK, and if you have supplied biometrics, you may also be fingerprinted at that point. So if you don't answer the questions that they've been asked of you, this may result in you being denied access to the UK. But the UKVI have created a helpful top 10 tips for students to assist students in crossing the UK border, and we recommend that you read this in preparation.
Great, so you have arrived in the UK, you've crossed the border, you've packed your bags, and now we're going to talk about travelling to Ipswich. So travelling to Ipswich is really simple from the major airports. The closest airport to Ipswich is London Stansted. However, Gatwick, Luton and Heathrow are all relatively close to Ipswich. You can book train tickets through the Greater Anglia website. And if you choose to travel via train, you'll need to make use of the London Underground. If you're arriving at Heathrow Airport, you can take the Elizabeth line directly from Liverpool Street and then take a train from Liverpool Street to Ipswich. If you wish to book a bus from the airport, you can book directly through National Express. This may be the easier option as you won't need to navigate the London Underground with your suitcases. We always advise to obtain the cheapest price, please book as far in advance as possible. You may wish to also consider taking a taxi directly from the airport to your accommodation, and there are plenty of Ipswich-based taxi companies, and we're happy to provide numbers if you would like to explore this option. However, this will be significantly more expensive than the train or the bus, but we would encourage you to book it in advance to obtain the best price. So once you've arrived in the UK and you've settled into your accommodation, we're really looking forward to welcoming you to the university. One of the first things that you will need to do is bring your ID documentation to the Student Centre. If you have been issued a biometric residence permit, you'll need to collect this from your allocated collection facility. You must collect your BRP 10 days of arrival into the UK. However, we would encourage you to do this as soon as possible. Once you've collected your BRP, please take a photo of this and your vignette that would be entered into the back of your passport and upload this to CashShield so we have a record of when you arrived into the UK. Most students will collect their BRP from the 12 to 14 Westgate Street Post Office, which is a 15-minute walk from the university in Ipswich Town Centre. Once you've collected that BRP, please bring it with your passport to the university so that we can check this. If you've been allocated an E-visa, you may not be issued with a BRP. We'll be holding designated ID drop-ins in the Student Centre throughout induction to ensure that you have time to come and provide us with your documents. Once we've received these, you'll then be emailed your enrolment link. Enrolment is an online process where we ask you to provide all the information that we require from you as a student. When completing enrolment, it's really important that you provide us with your UK address, whether that is temporary or permanent, and a UK phone number. If you have any issues completing enrolment, please either contact us at International Advice or feel free to pop into the Student Centre and an advisor will be able to support you. During this process, you will be required to upload a photo of yourself via Oasis for your ID card. Once your ID card is ready for collection, we will then send you a text encouraging you to collect this from the Student Centre.
So now I'm going to talk a little bit about an induction module, and this is a space with a section that was specifically developed for international students, which is within the induction module, available through Brightspace or through the Pulse app. And we recommend that you go through this module as it covers important topics to help you prepare for living and studying in Ipswich. The module will remain on your Brightspace homepage, so you can go back to the information time and again to remind yourself of the key points or to access the links. Okay, so we're now going to talk a little bit about your international induction. So as part of your introduction to the university, you will be invited to attend a course induction and an international student induction. So during international induction, we will be welcoming you to the university and introducing the support services on offer to you as a student. Induction is important to ensure that you start your journey with all the relevant information to be successful during your studies. Our international student inductions are generally held a few days before your course start date, so please keep an eye on your emails for the details for the next international induction programme. We'll be offering campus tours, an introduction to our online systems, and also some fun activities to get your time at Suffolk started. At the start of each semester, we will be offering a daily drop-in at the Student Centre from 11 till 1 to ensure that a member of the International Advice team is always on hand to support you during this time and to check your ID documents. So now looking at course induction. So once you've arrived in Ipswich, your course team will be really looking forward to meeting you and providing an induction session so you are prepared to start the programme. So details of your course start dates are available through the applicant area. We do understand that there may be visa processing delays. However, we will expect you to be on campus within 2 weeks of your course start date as written in your CAS letter. After this point, we may not be able to admit you onto your course, so it's really important to keep the International Advice team up to date with the status of your visa and your travel arrangements.
Once you've arrived in Ipswich, there's a range of support and guidance on offer for you, and our Department of Student Life is here throughout your journey at Suffolk. There are 4 main areas of support that is accessible through our Department of Student Life, and we'd encourage you to reach out to these services early should you require any advice. We have dedicated financial advisors who are on hand to provide advice and guidance on managing money whilst at university. We have student life advisors who can sign to relevant university services, provide impartial guidance, and answer any inquiries you may have. And through Student Life Advisors, we also have Student Life Mentors, experienced students who are there to assist with the transition into university life. We also have a dedicated disability and wellbeing service, and as a university, we want to ensure that every disability, mental health difficulty, or specific learning need is accommodated for. Our disability and wellbeing team are happy to offer specialist support based around specific needs. And in addition to that, we also have a specialist counselling service and a student assistance programme that is available to all students. We always encourage students, if they think they have a specific learning difficulty, such as dyslexia or dyspraxia, to reach out to our advisors early, as they're able to provide a range of assessments to screen for these conditions. Our advisors can also recommend exam concessions and reasonable adjustments if they're required. And then finally, there is international advice. And as members of international advice, we're here to support you during your time in Ipswich. We provide specific advice and guidance, as well as running international cafe events to support our thriving international community. The Student Centre is the main point of contact for the Student Life team and our student services. This is located on the ground floor of the Waterfront building, and you can drop in to see an advisor or a Student Life advisor, or contact a member of the International Advice team during our opening hours, which are displayed on the screen. In addition to our Student Life advisors, our assessment office is also located here, where students can hand in hard copy submissions and collect assignments. Right next to our Student Life Centre, we have reception, and reception are open from 8 AM to 5:15 PM, and they're able to issue temporary badges, contact security and book rooms. And if the Student Centre isn't open, they're always happy to provide advice and guidance for getting around campus or general queries.
So moving on to talk about the International Advice team and the support that we can offer you. So once you've arrived in Ipswich, our International Advice team will be looking forward to welcoming you. We are always on hand to provide advice and guidance, and you can reach us via the International Advice email, but we're also available through live chat or over the phone. We're located in the Waterfront building, and we will have an international student welcome stand during all our induction and welcome events. And so do come and find us and say hello, and we will help you with all your next steps as you start your journey at the university. At a couple of the pop-up sessions, we also invite our local HSBC bank representative to come along and meet any new students that may be interested in setting up a bank account with HSBC in the UK. To note, there are other banks available in the town. We also run our international cafe events once a month as an opportunity for our international community to come together. So in the past, we have had international food nights, career workshops, and we also hold summer trips. It's a really great opportunity to get to know international students and to explore the support services that we have here on offer at the university.
One of the many ways you can get involved in our wider student community is through our Students' Union. The SU offers really exciting opportunities to make friends, build support networks and learn new skills. The social sports programme allows you to engage in a really wide range of sports, and if you're nervous about attending your first session alone, an SU Sports Ambassador will be at designated sessions, so you always have a familiar face. There are also a real wide range of societies that you can be part of, from esports, LGBTQIA+, drama and theatre. Whatever your interest, the Students' Union will have something to offer you. And if there isn't anything that interests you, you can also start your own society. Finally, the Students' Union also offer a advice and guidance service through SU Advice. They are independent, confidential, and able to ensure that you make the most of your student experience.
So briefly like to explore the chaplaincy. So the chaplaincy is nestled in the Students' Union over in our Library and Learning Services building. And this space is open to everyone, all those with faith and those without. The chaplaincy organise events throughout the year to coincide with particular faith groups. And Linda, our lead chaplain, is really supportive of our international student community. The chaplaincy hosts several free lunches for international students throughout the semester, and these are generally advertised through their university Facebook page. If you would be interested in connecting with a particular faith group here in Ipswich, please do get in touch with the chaplaincy team. Their email is on the slide. They would love to hear from you. And so the free lunches that they offer are generally on Mondays from 12 to 1:30 in the chaplaincy. So we hope to see you there.
And that brings us to the end of the pre-arrival webinar. Thank you so much for listening to us today and attending. We are, of course, incredibly excited to meet you when you arrive in Ipswich, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Bye, thank you.